they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping is swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping is swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping is swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, hold on. Excuse me for a second. I'm trying to set something up. Okay, so with that all being said, I apologize for being tardy. Y'all know how it is. I know I'm late every day, but nonetheless. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. All right, Cancer 2184 is here, Perplex. All right, the lovely T, Nessie X, We the People, Queen Huey is in the house. All right, DJ Big Six, Reggie. All right, let's get into it. I see you, Deronda. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal royals, everyone tuned into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators for putting in work. I see you, Dangerous. All right, Buckhurst DC is back in the chat. All right. Let's get into it. It's Bree to you, Dornicia G from the land, Mama Joycelyn, Vince I am all the way from the UK. All right, so let's get this party started. Before we do, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. All I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. All right, and she has a beard oil. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Everybody hit that like button. First of all hell has broken loose, okay, in Chicago and in Portland. Now, I told you all it was a terrible idea what Trump was doing, deploying these troops to these different cities and stuff. And now it's nothing but mayhem. You have ICE agents. Now, some people are saying that they've actually pepper sprayed the police. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what some of the residents are saying. Also, it's been reported that they zip tied some children. And I'm pretty sure those children were black because this happened in Chicago. They've been landing Black Hawk helicopters on roofs and everything. It is complete and utter chaos. I'm telling you, Trump is sending us right into martial law. And that's what I told you all. Okay, this man is unhinged. Now let's get into it. I'm going to show you some footage. I want you to also hear what Governor Pritzker has to say about all of it. And for those of you who missed the video that I uploaded last night, I uploaded a video last night about the judge, Diane Goldstein, who ruled against Trump. And then all of a sudden her house explodes. Okay, if you all saw that video last night, put a 1 in the chat. Yes, her house exploded. Now, I'm not saying it had anything to do with Trump or the fact that she ruled against Trump, but I just find it all very suspicious that these people who cross Trump, tick him off, criticize him or whatever, bad things happen to them. Has anyone else noticed that, or is it just me? Judge blocks Trump from sending troops from California to Portland. So, a U.S. federal judge has temporarily blocked President Donald Trump's his administration from deploying National Guard troops from Texas and California to Portland, Oregon. Now, because remember, Governor Greg Abbott was more than ecstatic, okay, more than thrilled to accommodate Trump in helping him to send troops to Chicago. And by the way, don't forget that he said he's going to be targeting people who have a history of violent crimes because he's going to stop them before they get to their next victim, because he's going to know when that is, like the Minority Report. But let me continue. Now, the decision late on Sunday came after the same court denied Trump's attempt to deploy Oregon's own National Guard members to Portland. Portland is the latest Democratic-led state targeted as part of the president's attempt to address what he says is out-of-control crime and protest over his administration's immigration enforcement. Now, Trump has also authorized the deployment of National Guard troops from other states to Chicago, Illinois. Now, the ruling on Sunday from U.S. District Judge Karen Emmergut came shortly after the Pentagon confirmed 200 members of the California National Guard had been reassigned to Portland to support U.S. immigration and customs enforcement and other federal personnel performing official duties. Now, California and Oregon had sought a temporary restraining order against the deployment. Judge Emmergut, who was appointed by Trump, said there was no evidence that recent protests in the city made the presence of federalized National Guard troops necessary. Okay, here we have yet again someone disagreeing with Trump and his foolishness. And this is someone who was appointed by Trump. So you already know he's not going to like that. I guarantee you that he's going to have more than a little bit to say. Okay? This is all so egregious. Now, with that all being said, during an emergency hearing on Sunday, she pressed the attorneys for the federal government on how the deployment of troops from other states was not simply a way to circumvent her earlier decision denying the deployment of Oregon's National Guard, because that's what Trump did. He thought he was so slick and sly. Now, she said they could not deploy Oregon's National Guard, so he said, okay, yeah, I'll just go get some from Texas and send them. Do you all see what Trump is doing here? Do you all see the play that he pulled? He definitely circumvented it, and he is so ignorant, okay? This man is going to do whatever it takes to get his mission accomplished. And so anyway, Also egregious. Now, in that decision, she said the use of the military to quell unrest without Oregon's consent risked the sovereignty of that state and others and inflamed tensions in the city of Portland. Stephen Miller, Trump's deputy chief of staff, called the ruling on X one of the most egregious and thunderous violations of constitutional order we have ever seen, and is yet the latest example of unceasing efforts to nullify the 2024 election by fiat. Is he serious? I mean, are they trolling us? They can't be serious, can they? Well, of course they are. Of course they are. You see, the patients have now completely taken over the asylum, okay, and they're in charge. He later told reporters that Trump was considering a very broad range of authorities to deploy federal assets despite the court's intervention. He declined to offer specifics, saying that that could enable local authorities to prepare their next motions in court. Now, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Levitt told reporters that Judge Emmergut's decision was untethered in reality and in the law, and said that Trump was legally within his rights to call up the National Guard in cases where he deems it appropriate, saying that we're very confident in the president's legal authority to do this, and we're very confident that we will win on the merits of the law. Now, the temporary restraining order will remain in effect until at least October the 19th. The Trump administration is expected to quickly appeal against the ruling. So, U.S. cities should be military training grounds. That's what Trump told the generals. Trump authorized deployment of 300 National Guard troops to Chicago. Meanwhile, Illinois State and the city of Chicago filed a lawsuit on Monday to block a similar planned deployment of troops to the city by the Trump administration. They say the American people, regardless of where they reside, should not live under the threat of the occupation by the United States military, particularly for the reason that their city or state leadership has fallen out of a president's favor. Okay, that's what Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul said in a statement. And on Monday, Trump said that he would consider invoking the Insurrection Act. Really? I find it all interesting, don't you? Said he would. I thought he loved insurrections. Isn't that what he calls at the Capitol? But he said he'll consider invoking the Insurrection Act to use the military if federal courts stopped his deployment of National Guard troops to U.S. cities. Now, speaking in the Oval Office, he said, "We have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that." So, if people were being killed and courts were upholding us, hold on, and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I would do that, he says. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said late on Sunday night that Trump was ordering 400 members of Texas National Guard for deployments to Illinois, Oregon, and other locations within the United States. Now, in a statement, the governor called the proposed deployment Trump's invasion and said there was no reason to send troops into any state without the knowledge, consent, or cooperation of local officials. He told CNN that the authorization of troops that would incite protest and accuse the administration of creating a war zone to rationalize the response. Now, Pritzker also called on Texas Governor Greg Abbott to immediately withdraw any support for this decision and to refuse to coordinate. In response, Abbott said he fully authorized Trump's decision to call up the Texas National Guard to ensure safety for federal officials. He said you can either fully enforce protection for federal employees or get out of the way and let Texas Guard do it. That's what he wrote on X, honey. It's all going down. Are y'all ready? Like Portland, Chicago has also seen protests over increased immigration enforcement. Now, on Saturday, protesters became violent with immigration authorities, saying they opened fire on an armed woman after she and others legally rammed their cars into law enforcement vehicles. Now, the woman's condition is unclear, but officials said that she drove herself to the hospital. This is all hell breaking loose. Are y'all hearing it? This is complete mayhem. Now, Trump has sought to use National Guard troops in the in a number of U.S. cities to crack down on what he says is out of control crime and support immigration enforcement, including in Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles, California. Now, the National Guard is the primary combat reserve of the Army and the Air Force. Okay, the state-based military force can be called up by either a state governor or the U.S. president. It is often deployed to provide disaster relief after floods and hurricanes, but can also support military operations overseas. Now, in September, a federal judge in California ruled Trump's deployment of the National Guard to Los Angeles was illegal because it violated an act that limits the power of federal domestic government to use on domestic matters. The administration is appealing that decision. Donald Trump is out of his mind, okay? I just want y'all to know that. All right? Literally crazy. Vince I.L. said the stage is being set for the showdown. You already know. Christine said, all hell is breaking loose in Portland. Yes, it absolutely is. Let's see what's going on. Now, I want you to watch this video. This is about the Portland protest. And literally in this video, there's several videos in one. You're going to see how at first it was all nice and sweet. Everything looked all peaceful. And then how it ends up. Okay, please pay attention.
So as you can see, today is quite the day. As expected, after the announcement that the National Guard, 200 troops of the National Guard will be deployed to Portland by the Trump administration, we have swelled in numbers like I have not seen since after No Kings. This is amazing. There are at least 400, maybe 500 people all on the street. We've got everything blocked off. PPB is over there surrounding us. We got crossing guards who are taking care of everything. We have tons of journalists out, tons of local news stations, and we just have an insane amount of people. A lot of people, as you can hear and as you can see. So, this is quite the day, and really just goes to show, Trump administration, fucking try us. You try to squash us, we'll come back 10 times as fucking strong.
We have no choice, we have no fear!
Fuck yeah. And as always, chinga la migra!
Fuck y'all!
Hey, bro. What's up, bro? What's up, bro? All the pepper spray people, get back.
Everybody needs to be documenting what's happening in Portland, Oregon, and sharing it everywhere. TikTok has taken down Portland, Oregon as a location that you can tag. They have taken down the tags, they've taken down the locations. They are actively trying to remove views of videos from Portland. There is a massive resistance going on in Portland right now, and I bet you don't know about it. Thousands of people, I'm not joking. ICE is attacking the police in Portland. The police. ICE is attacking the police. They pepper spray the police. They are beating people, they're shooting people, they are spraying them with pepper spray. I want to be absolutely clear about something. ICE is not working with the local police. I have no doubt that the local police have been told to work with ICE, but ICE is attacking them. I repeat, ICE is attacking local law enforcement in Portland, Oregon. TikTok is not showing videos of these things. The location of Portland, Oregon has been removed from TikTok. The tag has been removed from TikTok. Spread the word.
So Trump gives a blanket pardon to 1,600 people. I would love to see the data, and we will someday, as to how many of those matriculated into ICE. Because what we're seeing in places like Portland, Oregon, is unprovoked attacks. This was reported on Saturday. This is Richard and Lori Ekman. Richard's on the left. He's in a walker. He is a Vietnam War veteran, and they were peacefully protesting, as is their First Amendment right. Lori was then hit with some kind of projectile. They were apparently rushed by ICE, and both were hurt. Both were pushed to the ground, and Lori was struck by something. I can't believe this is where we're at. We're attacking people with a walker. They're both 84 years old. And Trump says Portland is war ravaged. Come on.
Now that's a darn shame, okay? That is a darn shame. These elders out here getting attacked. Somebody in a walker? Are they serious right now? See, this is what I'm talking about. This has all started to go too far. It looks like we're in a war-ravaged country or something. Absolutely egregious. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. Trump is not only, hold on, Christine says the ICE people been shooting rubber bullets at the peaceful protests. Yes, this is all crazy. Okay. Randa said it became war ravaged when ICE showed up. You got that right. You got that right. Softly's Love said attacking elders awful. Yes, exactly. And I'm pretty sure that Trump's not only violating the Constitution with his nefarious, wicked self, he is so evil. He's not only violating the Constitution, but he's also violating the Posse Comitatus Act. Okay, that's what he's doing. Now, basically, this is where they can regulate the use of military on civilians. Okay, first of all, that's not supposed to be done unless authorized by the Constitution or an act of Congress. And so far, Congress hasn't done anything. This is all Trump. He just does whatever he wants to do. And the reason they have the Posse Comitatus Act is so that people like Trump don't just, abuse their power. And so that military power isn't abused. But that's exactly what's going on here, all thanks to Trump. He has just taken over and nobody is stopping this man. Now, some of these poor judges are doing the best they can do to try to block him, okay? But he's still even, finding ways to bypass them, their rulings. He just doesn't care. He does whatever he wants, honey. Please pay attention. Now, let's go to this video where they said that the ICE officers or agents are using excessive force. Because that's exactly what they're doing. D Major said some folks in here say they don't care about this. Well, if they don't care about it, then leave. Why are you watching, beloved? It's not, just go away and come back when I'm talking about something else that you do care about. Okay, thank you, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. I mean, at the end of the day, I really don't care who cares about what. All right, this is news and I'm covering it. Okay? We have plenty of YouTube channels. Keep that in mind. Now, check this out.
Well, new this evening, Portland's city attorney.
And here's the thing. While they're talking about they don't care about it, just hold on tight. Because the story that I'm talking about after Portland is Chicago and how they zip-tied those children. And what race do you think those children were? And they were U.S. citizens. Okay, so please sit down somewhere. I already told y'all how it was all going down. But let's continue.
Attorney has sent a strongly worded letter to the U.S. Justice Department accusing federal officers of using excessive force against protesters.
Attorney Robert Taylor is calling for the DOJ to investigate. Taylor started the letter with a question. Does the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice care about the Constitution anymore? Taylor accuses federal officers of shoving peaceful protesters to the ground and using pepper spray and impact munitions, things like rubber bullets, against them.
Well, he also says federal agents are favoring Trump supporters, giving conservative social media influencers special access, and that is something our crews on the ground have also observed a handful of times. Taylor writing, "Please do not fail Portland, and please do not fail America. Please investigate and stop the apparent First and Fourth Amendment violations occurring in Portland by the federal government."
Wow. You all heard it. With that all being said, now let's get into what Governor Pritzker had to say about all of this. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Illinois is investigating after ICE raid. Now I want y'all to listen to this, okay? Illinois is investigating after an ICE raid left nearly naked children zip-tied. Okay, do y'all hear this? Zip-tying children. All right? Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is directing state agencies to investigate the treatment of children involved in a recent Trump administration immigration raid after witnesses claimed children were zip-tied, separated from their parents, and then detained for several hours. Pritzker's directive Pritzker's directive was issued Friday after reports emerged that armed federal immigration agents descended on an apartment building on the south side of Chicago, okay, on September the 30th, and pulled men, women, and children from their beds in the middle of the night. Now, in an interview with CNN on Sunday, the governor cited reports of children who were zip tied and held, some of them nearly naked, and elderly people being thrown in a U-Haul for 3 hours and detained. At least one U.S. citizen was detained. All right. Now, I find this all absolutely egregious. I find this all absolutely egregious. Now, with that all been said, hold on. Let's go to what Pritzker had to say about all this. It's a darn shame. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go.
Child awakened in the middle of the night. Imagine being a child awakened in the middle of the night by a Black Hawk helicopter landing on your roof. Imagine an armed stranger entering your home and forcibly removing you from your bed, zip tying your hands, separating you from your family, and detaining you in a dark van for hours. This didn't happen in some faraway authoritarian regime. It happened right here in Chicago, right here in the United States of America.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker describing the situation in his state with ICE conducting military-style raids, literally using Black Hawk helicopters in Chicago neighborhoods. President Trump saying he'll deploy hundreds of National Guard troops there, federalized troops both from Illinois and also from Texas, of all places. Today, a federal judge in Illinois declined for now to block the Trump administration from doing that. The judge will hold a hearing on the matter later this week. But that apparently means the deployment can go ahead in the meantime. Hours ago, with no ruling in place to bar the deployment, one U.S. military official told the New York Times that 200 Texas National Guard troops are expected to fly to the Chicago area tonight in military aircraft. Tonight, Governor Pritzker is, interestingly, calling on his fellow governors around the country to rally to Illinois' defense. In a letter to the National Governors Association, he says, quote, if the president continues overriding governors to deploy military assets into another state against the governor's will, we have abandoned the foundational principles that have protected our republic for nearly 200 years.
Okay, so the action must be denounced immediately, she says. Well, we'll see how this all turns out, but Trump is just really wreaking havoc upon the land. Okay, this is absolutely egregious. Excessive force being used by ICE. ICE has just gotten out of control. And see, this is what happens when you give people unchecked power, because then it starts to go to their heads. Okay, now you have the governor of Texas talking about targeting specific people, okay, as if he's a wizard or something and he already knows what they're going to do before they do it. Blatant racism is going to be being espoused everywhere. Okay, these people are going to be crawling out of the woodwork. All right, we thought it was bad before, but it's going to get a whole lot worse. Now, listen to this. So Trump has been lying and blaming the Democrats for the government shutdown. I don't know why he thinks anyone is buying this. Like, he is so ignorant. Trump slams Democrats for shutting down government, demands it reopen tonight. Trump said government shutdown did not have to happen. This is all so stupid. So anyway, President Trump, hold on, these pop-ups. President Donald Trump on Monday evening slammed Democratic lawmakers for shutting down the government amid one of the most successful economies, calling on them to reopen the government tonight, saying Democrats have shut down the United States government right in the midst of one of the most successful economies, including a record stock market that our country has ever had. This is what Trump is saying. This has sadly affected so many programs, services, and other elements of society that Americans rely on, and it should not have happened. This man's delusional, or either he thinks we are. I am happy to work with the Democrats on their failed healthcare policies or anything else. Ha! Do you all catch the shade that he always has to spew? I'm happy to work with the Democrats on their failed healthcare policies or anything else. But first, they must allow our government to reopen. In fact, they should open our government tonight. Trump made the post after Senate Democrats again blocked Republican efforts to reopen the government, ensuring the shutdown will last at least a week. And then in the meantime, they're laying people off and saying that they have to. Okay, this is what Caroline Lovett says. They have to lay people off during a government shutdown. No, you don't. That's all BS. Now, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and most Democrats say they won't support funding the government unless Congress agrees to extend expiring Obamacare subsidies. Now, Senate Majority Leader John Thune needs at least 8 Democrats to back the GOP bill, which will reopen the government through November the 21st. So far, only Senators John Fetterman, Catherine Cortez Masto, and Angus King have broken ranks to end the shutdown, while Senator Rand Paul remains the only Republican holdout. Now, Democrats warn that without a deal to extend the subsidies expiring this year, millions could face soaring premiums. Both sides say they want an agreement, but remain split over when to address the issue. So Schumer also wants assurance that Trump will sign any deal, pointing to expected resistance from House Republicans, saying that we need the president involved. This is what Schumer says. House Speaker Mike Johnson and a whole lot of his caucus don't like the ACA, don't want to do the extensions. A lot of Republican senators in the Senate do, but they're not enough. Good is not enough. You need Johnson and you need Trump to get it done. So that's the bottom line. Now, Trump told reporters in the Oval Office, we're talking to Democrats. When asked if he'd work with them on a deal to reopen the government, he said, yeah, I'd like to see a deal made for great health care. I want to see great health care. I'm a Republican, but I want to see health care much more so than the Democrats. He acts like everything's a freaking competition. So ignorant. Schumer fired back saying that Trump's claim isn't true, but if he's finally ready to work with Democrats, we'll be at the table. Just a load of BS, okay? Just a load of BS. And I need to, if I can remember, if you all can remind me, I want to go to the White House's TikTok channel before I close out so I can show you all the stuff that Trump posted on there. It's just, or somebody in his administration posted on there. It's just really crazy. Now, this is the president, and this is the White House posting. Okay, just a bunch of sombreros flying through the air. It's just like so ridiculous. Okay, I can't even believe that this is real life. It seems like, we're in the Truman Show or the Twilight Zone, like we're being pranked. Okay, it's all so crazy. And so anyway, let's go to this next report. Likes up, everyone, please like and share, because here's the thing. As I told you all, Trump says, hold on, I didn't get to that. Hold on, let's talk about it. Because Trump says that the U.S., thanks to him, has secured $17 trillion in new investments. And the real number, of course, is likely a whole lot less, okay? This is what Trump says. $17 trillion. He's acting like we're just falling out of control. He keeps talking about how much money everybody has. Hold on. The economic boom promised by President Donald Trump centers on a single number, 17 trillion. That's the sum of new investments that Trump claims to have generated with his tariffs. Income tax cuts, and aggressive salesmanship of CEOs, financiers, tech titans, prime ministers, presidents, and other rulers. The $17 trillion is supposed to fund new factories, new technologies, more jobs, higher incomes, and faster economic growth. I'm sorry. I can't even hold it. I tried so hard not to laugh. But this is what Trump is literally saying. Now, under 8 months of Trump, we've already secured commitments of 17 trillion coming in. $17 trillion coming in. That's what the president said in a speech last month. There's never been any country that's ever done anything like that. But based on statements from various companies, foreign countries, and the White House's own website, that figure appears to be exaggerated, highly speculative, and far higher than the actual sum. I think they meant lower than the expert. Yeah, his his number is much higher than the actual sum. Okay, I don't know why this man is sitting here lying so desperately. They say he has clearly padded these investment commitments. Okay, trying to make it like he's done more than Biden did in his presidency. This is also hilarious. And the reason why it's so funny is because he got exposed for these lies, okay, by his own press secretary, which you'll see in a moment because I'm going to play the clip. The White House didn't lay out the math after multiple requests as to how Trump calculated $17 trillion in investment commitments. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? He didn't show the receipts. DJ Big Six said, "We need our reparations." Yeah, we do. But when asked for receipts, he didn't show any. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. Now watch this.
We are $37 trillion in debt, and the federal government is currently shut down. There is no more money coming into the federal government's coffers.
Wait a minute. What about all that money that Doge recovered from all that fraud and waste? Where'd that go? I guess we'll never know.
A reporter just asked Caroline Leavitt, "Hey, why do we have to lay people off during the government shutdown when we've never had to do this before?" And like clockwork, Caroline immediately starts lying.
Two questions on the shutdown. You've argued that these impending layoffs are necessary to keep essential services up and running, but that has never been the case in any previous shutdown. Even when the government was shut down for 35 days in Trump's first term, you've never had to lay off thousands of workers to keep essential services up and running. So why are layoffs now necessary in this shutdown?
Because we have an administration and we have a president who are wholeheartedly focused on restoring fiscal sanity to our government and doing the right thing by the American taxpayer. We are $37 trillion in debt, and the federal government is currently shut down. There is no more money coming into the federal government's coffers. And as you've also seen since the beginning, in January, this administration is focusing on waste, fraud, and abuse. And so Democrats have given this administration an unenviable choice to have to take a look at the balance sheet and identify where these cuts and layoffs can be made.
And you just said this is an unenviable choice, that this is an unfortunate consequence, but the president has described this as an unprecedented opportunity to lay off additional workers. He's posted a video likening Rust Vote to the Grim Reaper. So which is this? Is this an opportunity to fire more workers or an unfortunate consequence?
Look, the president likes to have a little fun every now and then, and I think both things can be true at the same time. The Democrats have given the administration this opportunity, and we don't like laying people off. Nobody takes joy in that around here, and if you think that, then I think that's very sad. You view the White House and our staff as wanting to put people out of work. Nobody wants to do that, but sometimes in government you have to make tough decisions.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, Caroline Leavitt, she knows that what she's saying is all a bunch of BS, and the American people don't buy it. What they're trying to do is to get away with as much of their little crimes as they've been getting away with without anyone looking at them. How on earth are they going to only lay off only Democrats unless they actually go through and interview each employee and say, "Hey, are you a Democrat or are you a Republican? Did you vote for Trump?" and then go check their voting records. Caroline should have simply said, "Listen up. We are going to go after anybody who's been asking and demanding that we release those Epstein files." Because that's the only thing that makes sense at this point. All right. You don't eliminate positions during a government shutdown in order to become more fiscally responsible, especially since we know every time you've done this in the past, you've had to go back and rehire some of these people. So all I see is just Caroline once again showing how un-American she is, how un-Christ-like she is, and how much of a Christian she isn't. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not continue to allow Donald Trump to get away with these lies and continue to harm innocent American lives. He shouldn't be allowed as president of the United States to take innocent Americans and use them as part of his ridiculous hostage negotiation. And by the way, these lies about undocumented people collecting Medicaid, Medicare benefits, no one buys it. MAGA, are you winning still?
Caroline Leavitt gave a wild press conference today in which she said that you guys are framing this like the president wants to just take over the American cities with the military. I wonder why that might be, Miss Caroline. Could it be the fact that Donald Trump has authorized the deployment of 300 National Guard troops to Chicago? Or how about just this week when Donald Trump tried to send in the National Guard from Oregon into Portland? The judge said no, and what did Donald Trump do? Decided to go against the judge's wishes by sending in the National Guard from places like California. Or just this speech from last week when Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth called in the generals from all across the world, wasting taxpayer dollars for a pep rally in which he told the generals that America is under invasion from within. So to Caroline Leavitt's point of you guys are framing this, no, we're not framing this like anything. This is Donald Trump just being very open about what he intends to do by sending the military into our city's streets. I remember a time when Republicans would say, don't tread on me. And now they want to be treaded on all over.
Okay, and that's exactly how it seems. Okay, so now here's the interesting thing. As I told you all, Trump was sitting there going hard in the paint on the Democrats about the government shutdown, blaming it on them and saying that they need to reopen the government tonight. But here's what Trump has previously said about government shutdowns. I want you all to pay attention. This man is nothing but an idiot.
In my opinion, I hear the Democrats are going to be blamed and the Republicans are going to be blamed. I actually think the president would be blamed. If there is a shutdown, and it's not going to be a horrible shutdown because, as you know, things will sort of keep going.
Well, it was a partial shutdown, right?
If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the president of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together. In my opinion, I...
Did y'all hear that? That's you, Donald Trump. That's you. Those words came out of your pie hole, sir. Okay? So at the end of the day, he needs to quit trying to blame the Democrats. All right? Because he said himself that the president is the one to blame. Now he has a whole nother story. Please sit down somewhere. And also what I find interesting is the fact that while he's got this going on, here's what Newsom's got going on. Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look. California just signed a new trade partnership with Belgium. We're committed to expanding economic and clean energy innovation because California will always be a stable, reliable partner to the world stage. This one, while Trump shuts down the government, fires union workers and guts protections, at Governor Newsom just signed landmark bills giving $800,000 rideshare drivers, okay, a path to unionize and higher wages while cutting costs for riders. Okay, Trump, what are you doing? All right? What is he doing? This man is a whole hot mess, okay? Just a hot mess. What is he doing? Trying to start a war. That's what it looks like. So anyway, I just want y'all to pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds. Because clearly, Trump has lost his darn mind. And here's the thing. This is how petty Trump is. Now, rather than working on the economy, trying to figure out what he needs to do about everything that's going on, all the mayhem that he started, he's sitting up here getting upset because Fox News invited Senator Mark Kelly on. Now, you know Trump doesn't like him, so he had something to say about it.
Are you going to vote with Republicans to reopen the government?
Well, if we could reopen the government and bring down these costs, absolutely. Nobody wants to see the government shut down. I mean, we know what happens when people don't get their paychecks. We get that. But let me tell you a quick story about a woman in Arizona in Prescott. Her name's Robin. I spoke to her last week. She's on a fixed income. She's 60 years old. She's a fifth-generation American. She said to me, she says, why are they making this about immigrants? This isn't about immigrants. This is about me. Now, she pays $250 a month on the ACA, on the exchange for her health care, but she gets around $9,000 in those premium tax credits. She is expecting, if we do not act on this, that is going to go away. And she says she will not be able to afford health care anymore. So this, Peter, this is about real people who are going to see the price of health care skyrocket.
And you're talking about the price of health care and immigrants. The heart of the disagreement seems to be that Republicans do not think that illegal immigrants should have access to taxpayer-funded health insurance.
And they don't.
So the Democratic position, your official position here, is that illegal immigrants should not have any access to taxpayer-funded health insurance. Does that include federal and state?
Well, the federal law is that undocumented individuals do not have access to Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, even the Affordable Care Act. That's the law. So this is a red herring from my Republican colleagues. They don't want to, help folks out because they needed that money. And this should be pretty simple for people to understand. When they gave that extension of the 2017 tax cuts, which helped out the richest Americans, it was partially paid for by taking away Medicaid and taking away these ACA tax credits for people who just can't afford health care.
Now, you see how he just let that be known? Okay, these things that Trump is doing absolutely going to affect Medicare and Medicaid, but he doesn't care. And he's sitting here trying to gaslight us by acting as though it is the Democrats who are messing up the health care. But here's what he had to say about them having Senator Mark Kelly on there. He says, why is Fox News and Peter Doocy putting on Democrat Senator Mark Kelly to talk about totally unabated or challenged health care? The fake spin is so bad for Republicans that it is hard to believe that we win. It will be very unfair in the future when they don't have Trump to fight for them. Therefore, we should fix it now. I'm watching this interview. It just doesn't end. Fox should either get on board or get off board now. But at this point, it just doesn't make any difference to me. Sounds like a 10-year-old throwing a tantrum. He says they suck up the ratings because of us and then spin them in the Democrats' direction. They refuse to put up polls that correctly show me at 65% in popularity, a Republican record. But if I have a fake bad poll, many of which are done by Fox, one of the worst posters out there is the Fox News poll. They put them up immediately and with gusto. Republicans are so tired of this fight with Fox, always trying to be so politically correct. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Do y'all hear the dog whistle? Do y'all hear the dog whistle? Do y'all hear the play here? Thank you for your attention to this matter. Basically telling them, y'all better get it together. Okay, if you know what I know, y'all better get it right. Thanks for your attention to this matter. Going in. All right, and then pay attention. He's basically telling them to lie and say whatever they need to say to appease him. Because he said, but if I have a fake bad poll, many of which are done by Fox, one of the worst pollsters out there is the Fox News poll. They put them up immediately and with gusto. Republicans are tired of this fight with Fox, always trying to be so politically correct. So he doesn't want you to be politically correct. So just lie and put up what he wants you to put up or else. Remember what happened to that lady, okay, when she put up those numbers that he didn't like, she got fired. Okay, she got fired. Trump is on some real BS. He is on some real BS, okay? Please pay attention. Now let's go to this video where he was. I'm just showing this for kicks and giggles because we were just talking about Al Sharpton, Bobblehead Sharpton the other day, and then Trump clowned him. Look at this. Put up this old picture of Al.
Sharpton with unflattering snap and calls for probe into his lowest-rated show. President Trump has taunted the Reverend Al Sharpton by posting an old and unflattering photo of him, as he called for an investigation into how he still has a TV show despite it being the lowest rated in history. Trump took aim at Sharpton in a lengthy Truth Social rant late Sunday as he urged the Federal Communications Commission to take away broadcast licenses from both NBC and ABC. The photo, which was taken around 1988, captured a then-plump Sharpton in a striking red shirt with suspenders and a massive gold pendant. I knew Al Sharpton for many years, not that it matters, but he was a major Trump fan. He'd asked me to go to his fake rallies all the time because I brought big crowds and he couldn't get anybody to come without me, Trump said. The president added that the Reverend's reputation suffered a huge blow after he got involved in the 1987 Tawana Brawley rape hoax.
Did y'all hear that? I find it all interesting, okay? Now, listen, this is Trump going off on the judge, for blocking him. Please pay attention.
Mr. President, a federal judge you appointed blocked your decision to send troops to Portland. What's your reaction?
Well, I disagree with that judge. I wasn't served well if they put judges like that on. I wasn't served well by the people that pick judges, I can tell you. Things like that are just too bad. I appointed the judge and he goes like that. So I wasn't served well. Obviously, I don't know the judge. But if he made that kind of a decision, Portland is burning to the ground. You have agitators, insurrectionists. All you have to do is look at the television, turn on your television, read your newspapers. It's burning to the ground. The governor, the mayor, the politicians are petrified for their lives. And you have a judge like that, that judge ought to be ashamed of himself.
All I know is that judge better watch their back, honey, at this point, okay? You better watch your back if you tick off Trump because he's good at getting back at his political rivals and enemies. All right, so anyway, Panther Strike says, Queen, I only care for our people, not a group that has disparaged our people through anti-Black racism, including illegal immigrants. Thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. I appreciate you. Now, as to your comments, I don't know how that has anything to do with this broadcast, because for one, this broadcast is not for any of you to be concerned about immigrants. I don't care who you all are concerned about or not, okay? For one, does anybody know? I want to see something. Put it in the chat. Who knows why I'm showing you the videos about ICE and the protesting? Can somebody put it in the chat? Because if you think that I'm showing you this so you care about what's going on with the immigrants, that's not it. I mean, it's nice if you do, but if you don't, I don't really care. That's not why I'm showing you this, okay? Does anybody know why I'm showing you all this stuff? Dangerous said we're next. Okay, Reppin' Magazine said we're next. Here's the thing. I'm showing you all this stuff because this has all turned into a war zone, just like I knew it would. There is nothing but a whole lot of mayhem going on. People are being, injured, going to the hospital. There's all kinds of stuff going on. People being hit with these rubber bullets that they claim are non-lethal, but they can be lethal. They can crack your skull. Okay, people being blown upside the head with these things. Okay, at the end of the day. And also children being taken out of the house in the middle of the night, half naked and zip tied. You don't have a problem with that. You don't have empathy for little kids. I do. Okay. And that could be your kids next, because those children were citizens of this country and they were Black. Okay. So I don't know if they were African or African Americans, but they did say they were Black. So they didn't have to tell me they were. I knew they were Black when they said what they did to them. So with that all being said, it would behoove you to be paying attention, because all of this stuff is going on right now actively in Chicago and Portland. This is how we get to martial law. And if we get to martial law, that definitely is going to impact you and everybody else. Okay? That's right. Brandon said this is a Gestapo. That's what it looks like. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Now, with that all being said, at the end of the day, D. Major Skeller said we should be concerned about our country. Yeah, okay? At the end of the day. I don't know why y'all be always trying to tell me about these immigrants. I didn't ask y'all to be concerned about them. Okay? So, anywho, let me go to these last two videos because I want you all to see what a couple of TikTokers had to say about that lady's house catching on fire. Okay, Judge Diane Goldstein. I thought that was very interesting. As I told you all, if you saw that video last night, if you missed that video that I uploaded last night, go back and watch. It's only about 10 minutes or so. But here's what a couple of people had to say.
So a South Carolina judge who recently ruled against the Frumpy Dump administration and has been subjected to threats and harassment since then, her mansion on a beach in South Carolina burned to the ground yesterday. Let's talk about it. So apparently Judge Goodstein was on the beach when the fire erupted. However, her husband, Arnold Goodstein, who just happens to be a former Democrat South Carolina state senator, was in the home along with their two children. According to reporting, the fire erupted midday yesterday. Now, South Carolina's Law Enforcement Division, aka SLED, that's South Carolina's version of the FBI, is investigating this. And according to them, Judge Peterson was on the beach walking her dogs at the time of the fire. Now her husband and the children were inside of the home. They found the husband on the back of the house in a marshy area. They had to use a canoe and a rope to pull him from the tricky terrain. Now, 3 people were hospitalized with injuries, one of whom had to be air evacuated to the Medical University of South Carolina. Now, Judge Goodstein recently made headlines. Just last month, she was involved in a controversial case in determining if voter personal information in South Carolina could be turned over to Frumpy Dump's DOJ. She issued a temporary restraining order in early September, stemming from a lawsuit challenging whether the South Carolina Election Commission could give voter data to the Department of Justice. Now, her ruling was later overturned after a 6-page opinion from the Supreme Court took issue with her process in barring the state from complying. She was criticized by the Supreme Court, signed by all 5 justices, for failing to detail what kind of damage would be caused in the release of the personal information of voters. And since that ruling, Judge Goodstein has received harassment and threats, just like a lot of judges have been experiencing these days. It's also very important to note that Frumpy Dump and his Cracker Jack Box administration has been attacking Democrats and what they have deemed as radical left judges. And just yesterday, Frumpy Dump's Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, posted this on Twitter. All right, players, so we'll wait to see what comes out of the Washington arrangement of this investigation. What do you all think, players? Put your thoughts in the comments. This is Double D Mo for the Black Accurate News.
Oh, honey, this is all crazy. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on now. They're investigating that fire as an arson. Okay, I guess we'll have to see. I'm just curious as to why it exploded like that.
I already know that this video is going to be suppressed, so share. South Carolina judge that just got in Trump's way got her house set on fire the next day. South Carolina judge Diane Goodstein just recently ruled against Trump for giving him voter data of the American people. Trump's most powerful advisor, Stephen Miller, then sent out this tweet. The issue before us is now very simple and clear. There is a large and growing movement of left-wing terrorism in this country. It is well organized and funded. It is shielded by far-left Democrat judges, prosecutors, and attorneys general. The only remedy is to use legitimate state power to dismantle terrorism and terror networks. And the very next day, the judge's beachfront home was set on fire. Her whole family was in there. There were children in this house. Luckily, no one passed away. Everyone got away, right? And I'm just going to cut to the chase. A lot of people are speculating that Trump or someone in the Trump administration did this. And look, I'm never going to get on here and fearmonger to you because guess what? We don't have any evidence. We don't know for sure. Those are the facts. I'm going to give you my opinion. I find it very hard to believe that if not someone in the Trump administration, then one of Trump's supporters did this. Donald Trump, and even specifically Stephen Miller, implies more and more that right-wing radicalism is more permissible than left-wing radicalism. And Stephen Miller has already declared this as left-wing radical terrorism when this lady was actively doing the left's bidding, right, in theory. So why would a leftist do this? And then also, too, it makes me wonder, because it's like, who would immediately assume that a leftist did this? Unless, you know, they were trying to shape the opinion before the facts come out. And if you think this is going to be the last, you're sadly mistaken. There's going to be more of these, right? You know, not all of them are going to be such good stories where everyone gets away. And I'm really concerned that it's going to start happening to normal people like us. So I just want to say, I love my life. I don't want to lose it. Okay? If something happens to me, I didn't do it.
Poor fella said if something happens to him, he didn't do it. Okay, so darn shame you got to say that. Okay, just because you're criticizing the president of the United States. Don't y'all find it also interesting? Because I sure do. But now let's go to the first update, or the latest update, shall I say, on the South Carolina judge's fire. Investigators reveal first findings in the South Carolina judge's house fire and warn public against speculation. I bet they do. Unfortunately, y'all don't get to control our minds and tell us what to think and how to think it. Okay, that's what you don't get to do. All right, nefarious. So with that all being said, I'm going to let you all see the fire for those of you who missed it. It was ghastly as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the house is completely gone, honey. Just completely gone. Such a shame, too. That is one heck of a fire. Okay, absolutely crazy.
Gasping. Feeling.
You can hear this thing burning.
All right. So anyway, with that all being said, very interesting. Now let's talk about what they're saying. So officials investigating the cause of the huge blaze that reduced a $1.5 million beachfront home of a South Carolina judge to smoldering embers on Saturday morning have said they do not believe arson played a part. Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? They don't believe arson played a part? Well, what do they think happened? Okay, what do they think happened? This is all crazy right now. Charlotte says, Queen, you really come with the news, the real news. Thanks for all that you do, Queen. Well, thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. I surely do. Now, here's the thing. So if it wasn't arson, what do they think happened? I just have several questions. Hold on, beloveds. I just have several questions. Bear with me, beloveds. I'm gathering a receipt real quick because this this article, they want me to sign in. Hold on. Okay, here we go. All right, here's one from Politico. South Carolina's top law official says no arson evidence so far in fire that destroys judge's home. Okay, so they say the Saturday blaze nearly burned to the ground the house listed in property records as owned by Circuit Judge Diane Goodstein, on a remote part of Edisto Island. Now, the investigation is still active and ongoing, and agents will issue a report when they finished when they are finished and determine the cause. This is what State Law Enforcement Division Chief Mark Keel said. Now, at this time, they say there is no evidence to indicate the fire was intentionally set. SLED agents have preliminarily found there is no evidence to support a pre-fire explosion. Now, Keel and his agents released no other details than that. They say 3 people were hurt in the blaze, and one of them was taken by helicopter to the Medical University of South Carolina. This is according to Colleton County Fire Rescue. The names of the people hurt have not been released. Now, the house's first floor is elevated from the ground, and the injured had to jump to the ground. Several then had to be rescued by kayaks from the swampy backyard. Okay, this is what the St. Paul's Fire District said in a statement. They say video from the fire department showed the home fully engulfed in flames. Drone photos taken over the scene later showed only a few charred wooden supports standing and the blackened rubble. Ooh, honey, that was also nefarious. Goldstein has been a state judge for 27 years now, holding thousands of cases. Now, speculation immediately settled on one after her recent decisions where Goldstein blocked the Election Commission in South Carolina from releasing voter data requested by the U.S. Department of Justice, okay, i.e. Trump. Now, her restraining order was lifted about a week later by the Supreme Court, who said Goodstein failed to detail if the voter who sued would suffer irreparable harm or proved that she was likely to win the suit or on the merits. Hill's agency almost never releases statements while investigations are ongoing beyond the basic facts. But the last sentence of his statement on Monday indicated why he made that exception. Saying, I urge our citizens, elected officials, and members of the press to exercise good judgment and not share information that has not been verified, Keel wrote, okay, who has led the state police since 2011 and has been in law enforcement for 46 years. Now, the General Assembly elects judges in South Carolina, and when Goodstein last ran for her seat in 2022, the Judicial Merit Screening Commission noted her sterling reputation and temperament and called her an asset to the state. Nearly 2 decades ago, Goodstein presided over a civil lawsuit that led to a $12 million settlement between victims of sexual abuse and the Roman Catholic Church of Charleston. Now, they say she also presided in 2014 over a property dispute trial between the National Episcopal Church and the breakaway of South Carolina, which split over theological differences, including the authority of Scripture and of the ordination of gays. Y'all hear that? So anyway, I guess everybody's doing okay. I'm just wondering if her husband's going to have hip replacement surgery or something like that, because the old man broke his hip. So Queen Hewitt said it burned itself. Okay, I mean, if it wasn't arson, what in the world was it? Okay, it's interesting. They can tell us what it wasn't, but won't tell us what it was. Don't y'all find that interesting? Don't y'all find that interesting? Okay, Vince M says sounds like laser beam or a drone strike allegedly. I know, right? But Vince M, didn't you hear what they just said? They said to avoid speculation. In other words, don't let your minds run wild, your imaginations run wild, okay? So anyway, with that all being said, we're about to be out of here. But I want to talk about this Portland hotel shooting. Okay, for True Crime Tuesdays, with KOIN News. So let's get into it, because they said there was they said there's questions swirling around the deadly Portland hotel shooting. Now, this just came in this morning. Well, what happened? And did it have anything to do with ICE? I have questions. Hold on, let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. I'm telling y'all, Trump is taking us straight down the road to martial law. This is not going to end well.
It's True Crime Tuesday. We are digging deeper into the recent deadly shooting of Philip E. Redmond.
Our friends from the Murder in the Rain podcast have more. Welcome back to True Crime Tuesday. Today we are asking for help regarding a recent shooting.
Just before 8 p.m. on Monday, August 11th, police were called to the Portland Super Value Inn, located at 5205 North Interstate Avenue, to perform a welfare check on a guest. When officers arrived at the scene, they found a deceased man inside one of the rooms who had been shot. The victim was later identified as 41-year-old Philip E. Redmond. It was quickly determined that Philip was a victim of homicidal violence. Whomever was responsible had fled the scene before authorities arrived. This case is new and active. Police have not released any information regarding who or what they are seeking tips about. If you have any information about the shooting of Philip Redmond, you were at the Super Value Inn on or around August 11th, or you have any information that may be helpful, you are asked to contact Portland Police Detective Megan Burkeen at 503-823-2092 or Detective Brian Sims at 503-823-2079. You can also leave an anonymous tip at crimestoppersoforegon.com.
Thank you so much for watching and for sharing Philip's story. We'll be back next week with another case.
Okay, so with that all being said, listen, I have a question for you all, beloved. I have a question. Let me share this with you guys, and I want to ask you all this as we exit the virtual building. Now, listen to this. Now, after I ask this question, I want you to put ones in the chat for yes and twos in the chat for no. Ones for yes, twos for no. Here's the question. You see this man on the screen here? This is an Arkansas father. He was arrested after he shot and deleted a PDF file that he found with his missing 14-year-old daughter. He caught this man with his 14-year-old daughter, and he shot the man multiple times and took his life. The question is, do you think that he deserves jail? That's the question they ask. Ones if you think that he does deserve jail, twos if no. Ones if yes, twos if no. Do you all think this man deserves jail? Ones if yes, twos if no. Okay, I think I've seen just about enough. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. He absolutely deserves jail. He absolutely deserves jail. And here's why. Because for one, people who look like him, many of them always try to deputize themselves, or they want to act as vigilantes or act as though they're above the law. You see, they pick and choose. People like him, they pick and choose when they, in fact, want to take the law into their own hands. You see, if you have no problem with him killing that man, because this is why we have a judicial system. We have one for a reason. Of course, I don't agree with what the man did, but he needs to go to jail and go to prison because he took someone's life. Okay, you don't get to do that because it's in this country. You know what we don't get to do as Black people when it's stand your ground. If they have stand your ground laws in states that we live in and we end up standing our ground, they'll still arrest us. And then you have to fight for your freedom, even though you stood your ground and it was self-defense. Look at the case of Carmelo Anthony. Look at many of the cases that I've reported on. You see, people that look like him think they can do whatever the hell they want. If somebody ticks them off, I'll just take your life. It's no different than when that man in Florida, the older white gentleman was going off on that Black woman like he wanted to fight her. And then when she told her husband, and her husband came out and got in his face and pushed him, and then as he's walking away, the man pulls out a gun and shot him in the back and killed him. See, that's how that works. See, a lot of these people think that they can just pull a gun and kill somebody whenever they feel like it if that person did something to which they deem that person doesn't deserve to live. But that's not for them to decide. That's for the courts to decide. Everyone is supposed to have their day in court. If someone commits a crime, no matter how heinous, if you have a problem with it, call the police. That's how that goes. See, if we say it's okay for him to kill this man, even though what the man did was clearly nefarious and egregious and sick, okay? I would vote for him to get the death penalty. I think that people like him should get the death penalty when they go to court. That should be the sentence they all get when you do these types of things, in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, even though I also feel that capital punishment can be, disproportionately affecting Black people or poor people, I really don't prefer it. But since we have it, well, the people that deserve it, in my opinion, are people like him, these PDF files. Because at the end of the day, I don't think there's a cure for what they have wrong with them. I think that's just something inherently, the sickness within them, and that in fact, there's no way to cure it. So if they ever get out on the streets, they're likely going to do the same thing again. This time, they'll likely just kill the person so there's no witnesses so they don't get caught. That's usually how it works, according to the cases that I've studied. So with that all being said, that man should have had his day in court, no matter what his crime was. And Billy Bob Joe right here, yeah, he doesn't just get to take somebody's life because he wants to play judge, jury, and executioner. That's not how that goes. Okay, and here's another thing. Who's to say that the man actually did it? Now, he probably did do it, but here's what I'm saying. What if somebody does something like that one day, and I'm sure it's already happened, and then it's not even true? What if the person lied? What if they do it to the wrong person? You see how that doesn't work? You see how that's why you're not supposed to do it? This is why you have courts, so that a jury of 12 of your peers can determine your guilt or innocence, not because one person is so angry and upset and that they think they're just going to do what they want and handle it however they see fit to do so. I'm not going to ever vote for that. Okay, as long as we can't do it. Now, if they're going to let everybody do it, okay, that's another story. Let's sit down and talk about it. So do I get to go out and act as a vigilante if someone does something that I don't like? Is that how that's going to go? Of course not. So why would I vote for them to be able to do it? I don't. Everybody is bound by the law, and everyone should have their day in court if they are accused of a crime. Okay? So I just want you all to think about that, because I knew a bunch of you were going to say 2. But you know why you said 2? Because you were thinking emotionally. Because emotionally, that's what anybody would say. Oh yeah, he should not have to go to jail for what the guy did to his daughter. That's emotional thinking. And that's what I keep telling y'all, you have to stop using when you're thinking. You have to use logic. And the logical decision is to say that he needs to go to jail. This is for the courts to decide, not him. Okay, he doesn't get to choose who lives and who dies. That's what he doesn't get to do. Okay? So, with that all being said, hold on. I know I don't see what I think I saw. Did somebody say that he should only get a year in prison? Somebody said a year at least. Honey, if you think somebody should get a year in prison for killing somebody, no, he should get what anybody else would get. Doesn't matter that the person was a piece of ish. Okay, you still committed the crime. You see, because if somebody who looks like me did it, you think they're going to say, well, this person was a piece of ish. No, they're going to stick it to you. So stick it to him too. All right. Whatever goes for us goes for everybody else. That's how it should be. I'm for equal rights under the law. Okay? That's just my opinion. Now, with that all being said, and I want you all to see this too. Hold on, I almost forgot about this. This story is so sad right here, but this is Trump. This is Trump. And these people probably voted for him.
President Trump, Vice President Vance, Secretary Collins, Sergeant Major Ruiz, and Commandant of the Marine Corps. This is Sergeant Kevin Lee Lloyd. He is a decorated Marine who served with 2nd Battalion, 3rd Marines, Box Company out of Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. He did 3 tours in the Middle East, and he was poisoned by the burn pits. Despite severe symptoms, the Marine Corps denied him a colonoscopy because he wasn't yet 40 years old. Those symptoms were so severe that they forced the early end of his military career. But instead of granting him medical retirement, which would honor his sacrifice and protect his children, they ended his career with only a 20% disability rating for myofascial pain syndrome. Had they done the colonoscopy, They would have caught his cancer in the early stages. It would have been treatable. He would not be in this hospital bed dying today. Now his cancer has spread to his brain, his lungs, his liver, his spine, and his lymph nodes. He has only weeks left, and still the Marine Corps refuses to correct his DD-214 to reflect medical retirement as an instrumentality of war. Without this correction, his children will be left without the lifelong benefits that they deserve. And so I had to step up. I am Kevin's ex-wife, the mother of his children, his medical power of attorney, and his caregiver through the VA. Since June 23rd, I have been by his side around the clock. On that same day, I applied for the Family Caregiver Program. It is documented in thousands of pages of VA medical records. I left my nursing career behind to care for him full-time because the VA and the Marine Corps abandoned him. Yet now they are fabricating the record, claiming we didn't apply until August the 24th, erasing 2 months of my work, withholding critical back pay that could keep us from financial collapse. There is no CACO officer assigned, no active duty Marines standing watch at the door. Just me, one person, fighting for him and for our children. Sergeant Lloyd has lived Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Even now, his only concern is for his Marines and for other veterans, that they get their toxic exposure screenings, that they are added to the burn pit registry so no other family suffers like ours. But the Marine Corps has not been faithful to him. You have left him behind. Correct his DD-214. Backdate his caregiver pay. Send a CACO officer. Honor the promises of the PACT Act. America is watching. Is this how we treat our heroes?
Okay, sorry, you guys. I was multitasking. So that was so very sad. I hated hearing that. That poor man fought for this country, and that's what they do to him. Okay, just don't give a darn. Now he's laying up there, and cancer is spread throughout his body, weeks to live, and all they had to do was allow him to get a colonoscopy. Okay, S is entitled. And this is very often what happens. Let me tell you something, because I volunteer to, help veterans get their medical benefits, their disability benefits, and things like that. It's a whole lot of paperwork, and some of them don't know how to do it. So I help them with that. But the bottom line is sometimes they get denied, very often they get denied, and we have to keep resubmitting the paperwork, making changes, gathering more information. It is like grueling work. Okay, at the end of the day. And the fact that they put these people through all of this after they've given their lives and time to fight for this country. And now his children aren't even going to get benefits after he's gone. It's just really sad. Metro Man says, you know how hard that is? It took me 4 years to fight my disability. Okay, they do us veterans so wrong. I had to sue. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's exactly. They do veterans wrong. And they have the nerve to say that Colin Kaepernick was disrespecting the vets when he peacefully protested by kneeling. At the end of the day, this country doesn't care about veterans. Most of the homeless, I'm not going to say most, but some of the homeless, a good percentage of the homeless population in this country are veterans. Okay? They don't give them proper medical treatment or anything. This is all crazy at the end of the day. So with that all being said, Metro Man, thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, before we roll out of here, hold on. Let me show you all the White House video where Trump had the sombreros flying through the air. So ridiculous. Now, I'm going to turn off the music because they were playing some kind of, they were playing, some music on here, and I don't want a copyright issue, but this is what your president is doing, just blatantly racist. Okay, I mean, this is on the White House's TikTok, for crying out loud. Where they do that at? Just look at it. It's a darn shame. Y'all see that? That's y'all's president, honey. That's y'all's president. And then y'all remember that AI video that he did, right? Y'all remember that AI video that Trump did with his silly self? When he had the sombrero on Hakeem Jeffries? Hold on. I thought I had it loaded. I was going to show that one again, but I don't. So anyway, listen. With that all being said, Trump is just, oh my God, it's just really, you have to laugh to keep from crying. Okay, because really none of this stuff is funny. None of it is funny at all. But this is what's going on. This man has turned our country into a war zone. You have kids being attacked by ICE agents. They're supposedly pepper spraying the police in Portland. Like it is a bunch of lawlessness. Everything has gone awry and it's all crazy. But yet Trump is sitting up there on his throne inside the Oval Office pretending as if everything's wonderful. Everybody's making money. He's generated $17 trillion, he says. Meanwhile, his press secretary says that the country is $37 trillion in debt and there's no money coming into the government. And then there's a shutdown and they had to lay off people. Okay, I just want y'all to pay attention to the disaster that looms because it's going to get so much worse. All right, so anyway, I'll see you all later on today, probably at about 7 o'clock. Until then, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hit 'em with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got